Hello, my name is Mark, and today I have taken a break from playing video games to help you with some algebra.
Knock and lock. You're heading back in.
I have here the Continuing Education, Algebra, and Functions practice problems, simplifying polynomial expressions, distributive property, and combining like terms. This is a continuation of the IBEW full-length algebra and functions aptitude practice tests, practice test 1. So I've made these because I don't think that there should be a paywall to relearn everything that you learned in high school and if you went to college, in college. So let's just go ahead and begin. These questions, there are 6 questions. These questions are very similar to question number 1. So I'm going to be making videos expanding on each question of the test, and I'll just be going over them in continuing education form. So all I did was ask ChatGPT to give me another, a similar question and to increase the difficulty every time. So let's go ahead and start with question number 1. Simplify the following expression. 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus 5 minus x minus 5x cubed plus 3x squared. So we all remember what PEMDAS is, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's how I learned it. And that stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So, given PEMDAS, what do we have here? We have a parentheses. So, we look at what is inside the parentheses. Is there anything that we could do there? Or how I would think of it is that's where I should attack the problem. What's inside the parentheses? I see 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus 5 minus x. There are no terms that could be added together, added or subtracted, or resolved in any way. For example, 3x cubed minus 2x squared. The exponents are different. They are 2 different exponents. If the minus 2x squared was minus 2x cubed, then we could do something. We could combine the 3x cubed to the minus 2x cubed, and that would just equal x cubed, 1x cubed. You could say it like that too. So we have the parentheses, right? We have the parentheses. So we also have this coefficient that's right here. So what would I do with this coefficient? What does this mean right here when this 4 is tagged along this parentheses? Or if there's like this, right? 4, and then we have a 5. What will we do? We would multiply. 4 times 5 equals 20, right? That's how that is read. In this case, this 4 is going to be distributed. The 4 is called the coefficient. This 4 is going to be distributed to each term. The term here, the term here, the term here, and the term here. This is how it might be written on the test, but I'll show you how I would write it after I'm done finishing this part of the problem. So, what is 4 times 3x cubed? And what is 4 times minus 2x squared? And what is 4 times 5? And what is 4 times negative x? That is how I would read what we're going to be doing. You're going to be doing 4 separate problems. 4 times 3x cubed. What does that equal? That equals 12x cubed. All I did was multiply these numbers, and then I tagged along the x cubed. How that would actually read is 4 times 3 times x cubed equals, and then only these could go together, and there's nothing else we could do. So that's what that would equal. And then 4 times negative 2x squared, what does that equal? Times negative 2x squared. That equals minus 8x squared. And what is 4 times 5? That's 20. And what is 4 times negative x? 4 times negative x. That equals negative 4x. Remember, anything multiplied by a negative, when it is a positive number, always equals a negative. Okay? How I would write this down in my head is negative 1x. Just in my head. Okay? I wouldn't write this down all the time. Maybe for you, you might like that method. That's how I learned, and that's how I distributed a negative. So in the end, we got 12x cubed minus 8x squared plus 20 minus 4x. And how I would write it is in order from increasing and it decreases, right? The first exponent, the largest exponent in the front, and then it just decreases all the way to the term with no variable tagged along to it. So I would write it 12x cubed, minus 8x squared minus 4x plus 20. And now we distributed the coefficient inside the parentheses. And I would just do this since we're learning. And then let's tag along this minus 5x cubed plus 3x squared. Just going to erase this so I have some room. So I'm going to add this 5x cubed plus 3x squared. And I only did that for the sake of the video. So you really would not do that when you write it all down. So that's just to show you that this is what we did. We distributed this coefficient. So I'm going to take it off. And now in red, or let's change it to green actually. That's my favorite color. So in green, I am going to identify what could be combined. What like terms could be combined, right? So look at this 12x cubed and this negative 5x cubed. These could be combined. So I would write it like this. 12x cubed minus 5x cubed. What does that equal? That equals 7x cubed. And then what's next? I'm going to just cross it out. This is what I actually would do really fast. So minus 8x squared or negative 8x squared. And then plus 3x squared. Plus 3x squared. What does that equal? Negative 5x squared. Okay? And then I would cross it out. And then minus 4x, negative 4x. It can't do anything with this 20. So we're going to leave that term alone. And we're going to cross it out because we wrote it down over here. And same for this 20. We're going to write it down here. And it can't be simplified or combined with anything else. So we cross it out. And now we're stuck or left with these terms here. 7x cubed minus 5x squared minus 4x and 20. And that is our answer. Our answer now is this 7x cubed minus 5x squared minus 4x plus 20. Boom. This is our answer. There is nothing else that could be combined. No terms can be combined to further simplify this expression. So this is our answer. All right, let's go on to question number 2. Simplify the following expression. So when I'm doing these problems, do not just wait for me to solve them. Pause the video and solve them yourself. And then see if you got the same answer I did. Or maybe you got a different answer and my answer's wrong. And challenge me in the comments, and then we'll go over the problem together And maybe I got them wrong. Sometimes I make mistakes. It's been a while since I've done algebra like this. And I took the aptitude tests in October or November of last year. I do have a degree in biotech though. So I did complete all the way to Calculus 2 in college. But I digress. Let's go ahead and move on to question number 2. So what will we do here? This is the same as question number 1. This actually is a little different because the terms are put in the order that I like them, in highest to lowest. So again, what will we do? We would get the coefficient and distribute that bad boy. Distribute that 2 to the 5x cubed, to the x squared, to the minus 3x, and to the 7. And what will we get? We would get, I'm going to do this mentally really quick, okay? Because this is what you should be doing. You should have already known how to do simple multiplication. Remember those times tables you did in school? Okay? You're going to use those now, okay? And you got to do it fast. And this is the only time you're going to use them. Okay, you might use them on the field too, I imagine, but I'm not an electrician, okay? And I'm not going to front like I am an electrician. I'm trying to be an electrician. I am doing to be an electrician. But how I imagine it is, yes, they do fast mental math. Okay, there's some stuff here on the aptitude test that I don't believe we'll ever use, and I'm sure that other electricians could vouch for that. But this definitely, just to have a concept of fast math is just, I believe, is needed to be an electrician. I digress again. 2 times 5x cubed. Let's do that really quick. 10x cubed. Okay. 2 times x squared. That is 2x cubed. All right. 2 times negative 3x. That equals minus 6x. And 2 times 7. That equals 14. All right, let's write everything down. 10x cubed plus 2x squared. Just want to write that nicely. Minus 6x plus 14. Okay, and then we're going to tag on the other part of the expression. Minus 3x cubed minus 4x squared. What are the like terms that we could add or subtract together? Or combine together. I got to use that word. What are the terms that we could combine together? That is 10x cubed and minus 3x cubed. So I'm going to write this down right now, but again, you're going to have to do it in your head mentally, okay? 10x cubed minus 3x cubed. What does that equal? 7x cubed. Okay. What else can we do? Remember, I would cross things out. It just makes it easier to see. 2x squared minus 4x squared. That equals negative 2x squared. All right, cross those bad boys out. And we have this right here, minus 6x by itself. Nothing can be combined with it. Cross it out. We wrote it down here. And then we have 14. Again, nothing can be combined. Cross it out. We have all that we need. Everything has been simplified. So we're just going to write everything down again. 7x cubed minus 2x squared minus 6x plus 14. Nothing could be combined. This is our final answer. Let's move on from there. But let's talk about it. Okay? I did this very fast, and you should do this very fast too, because these problems should not be an issue for you when you're taking the test. They may throw curveballs where they're going to throw fractions at you, and we're going to go over that. I don't believe they're going to throw super hard fractions at you, where you're just going to have fractions all throughout the problem. I hope not. If they do, then they're the devil. But, okay, let's go on to question 3. Okay. And again, make sure you screenshot this before I start the problem. Okay. This could be a curveball. Okay. Because this is going to take longer. Why is it going to take longer? Because now we have 2 parentheses going on, right? And then we have two coefficients going on. So how I would mentally think about this is there's two problems going on, right? Two problems. And then we have this bad boy right there. So two things going on. So the first bracket, okay? The first bracket, I would distribute the negative 2x to the 3x cubed, to the minus 4x cubed, to the x, and a negative 2 times a negative 6. All right, let's do that really quick here. That's going to be negative 2 times 3x cubed. That's 6x cubed. Negative 2 times negative 4x squared. What does that equal? A negative times a negative always equals a positive. Okay, don't get mixed up. You might get mixed up there. And that x squared just carries over. Okay, and then you have negative 2 times x. That equals negative 2x. And then you have the negative 2 times another negative, negative 6. What does that equal? A positive number. That equals 12. All right, we have these terms, okay? But we're not done yet. Now we got to figure out what will happen when we distribute the 5 to the parentheses in the second bracket. What is 5 times x squared? That just equals 5x squared. Whenever you multiply by the x, just think of it as like a 1, okay? 5 times 1x squared. And then what is 5 times 1? What is any number times 1? Don't say like 17. It's just the same number, okay? All right, don't make no mistakes, all right? We're here to practice and make no mistakes. Or we're here to practice, make mistakes, so you don't make mistakes when you take the test, okay? Cool. 5 times negative 2x. 5 times negative 2x, that's negative 10x. And what is 5 times 1? Ooh, it's just 5. There you go. Then carry that x cubed. All right, we could write everything down. Okay, we have all our terms. So we just go minus 6. All right, I'm going to do it way back here because I know it's going to be long. Minus 6x cubed plus 8x squared minus 2x plus 12 plus 5x squared minus 10x plus 5. And we can't forget this plus x cubed. Okay, we have all that written down. What will we do now? We're going to combine like terms. I'm going to get my favorite color here. And we're going to use that when we cross out. So minus 6x cubed minus 6x cubed. What can that be combined with? Nothing except for that plus x cubed. And remember, okay, we had these bracketed, we had these in parentheses, okay, but now it's all free game. Everything is simplified inside the parentheses because we distributed the coefficient, and now this x could just hang out with everybody else because everybody else is at the lowest terms. So, but now we have to simplify further by combining. Okay, what is minus 6x cubed plus x cubed? That equals negative 5x cubed. All right, and then we're just going to cross those out because we don't need them anymore. What is 8x squared plus 5x squared? And is there any more squares? No, there's not. So what does that equal? That equals 13x squared. And then again, we're going to cross it out. Okay, what's next? What's next is minus or negative 2x minus 10x equals, I want you guys to solve that. I'll give you some time. I almost didn't film this video because I popped a zit over here. I don't know if you can notice, but I don't know, man. Devil didn't want me to film this video, and I popped it. Okay, moving on. Minus 2x minus 10x. When you do that, you get negative 12x. Okay, so we're going to cross that out. And our last term is just 12 plus 5. That's an easy one. That's 17. So writing everything down, I'm going to put it all in green. Okay. It's going to be 5x cubed plus 13x squared minus 12x plus 17. Easy. That is simplifying to its lowest terms. We simplified this expression to its lowest terms. Okay, moving on. Are you tracking? All right. I hope you are. All right. Next. And guys, make sure you like the video, please, so that this could just spread to other people just like you. And so people just don't have to pay. Okay? I'm going to be taking breaks from my video games and editing to help you with some algebra because your boy is trying to be an electrician. And I believe that you are making an excellent choice in joining the trades because I believe AI is taking over in some sort of fashion. Okay, I digress. Simplify the following expression. Okay. So we have the brackets again, okay? I'm going to put these brackets. Ooh, don't put it in front of that negative. Did I mess up here? Oh no, good. Okay, there's a positive number there. This might trick us because there's a negative, okay? We're going to be distributing a negative and it's going to be on this side instead. So you got to be careful when I'm doing this. Okay? That negative is very important when we distribute. Okay? And then you have this part right here. Okay, let's just distribute the coefficient, okay? Let's do that really quick. 6x cubed minus 3x squared. That is 12x. And this is negative 15. Did you get that? I hope you got that. Okay, now this part's going to be a little tricky because we got a negative here, okay? All this is too, okay, to not confuse you, is imagine if we wrote this problem like this, minus 2x cubed plus 3x squared, or minus 2 times whatever's in this parentheses. And then what we would do if we just switched it, we put this in front of this, it would be minus 2x, or minus 2, parentheses, all this, and then we would put plus 3, and then whatever's in parentheses. Okay, you could switch these around if you wanted to. You would just have to make sure the sign follows. Maybe it would help if I wrote it down. It's just very long. So I'm going to do this. But this is just to teach you. You don't need to do this when you're doing the problem. Okay? This is just to clear your head. So you see what I'm doing here? I put this part of the expression first. And what do we put here? If we wanted to just rewrite it, we would do this. Plus 3. And then 2x cubed minus x squared plus 4x minus 5. That's all. That's all we would do. And then the plus 7 minus x. Okay? That's all we would do. But you don't need to do that. Okay, that is just to clear your mind and to clarify, just clarify a few things. So we have this right here. We're going to distribute this negative 2 to all these terms. Okay, that would be minus 2x cubed. Oops, I have so much trouble writing 3s. 2x cubed, and then negative 6x squared, 4x, and then negative 2. Then we have the plus 7 and minus x. So we have everything written down here, right? Like, just this is just off the whim. Okay, what we could do is just see our terms here, right? I have everything in order, kind of. I'm just gonna do this. 6x cubed minus 2x cubed. What does that equal? 4x cubed. All right, then I'm gonna do what I did last time, except I don't have to rewrite everything. And then we have minus 3x squared minus 6x squared. What does that equal? All right, negative with a negative. That's not multiplication though. It's negative minus 6x squared. That equals 9x squared. Okay. 12x plus 4x. We can combine those two together to get 12x, 4x. We could combine those together to get 16x. But then we have another one here, minus x. All right. 12x plus 4x equals 16x minus x, or minus 1, equals 15x. Okay. Cross those bad boys out. Boom, boom, boom. And then we have minus 15 minus 7 equals negative 17 plus 7 equals negative 10. Boom. And that is our simplified expression. 4x cubed minus 9x squared plus 15x minus 10. All right, at this point, you're getting it. And also, at this point, I think that is the hardest that the test will go. But they might throw a curveball. And you're going to have something like this. Oh my gosh. If they throw something at you like this is going to be time consuming. But don't worry, I will help you solve this problem. And I will help you tackle it as fast as possible. I mentioned this before, and I don't think they will give you a fraction like a screwed up fraction. Okay, they're going to give you a fraction that works. Like, for example, we have negative 1/2, and then we're going to distribute this, right? Before we even do the math, we know to distribute this negative 1/2 or negative 0.5. They might put a 0.5. They're going to do something to throw you off. Okay. What I'm teaching you right now might just throw you off when they just tweak the problem a little bit. The thing about me teaching you this is going to be way different than you actually doing the test, because I cannot simulate the stress that you're going to go through once you take the test and once you get hit by a curveball. Nothing's going to prepare you for the curveballs unless you do the problem. But as long as you get the concepts, guys, just get the basics down and then everything will tie in together. So minus 1/2 times 6x cubed minus 4x squared plus 8 minus 10x. So, okay, from this in my head, I'm just going to think, okay, it's everything divided by 2 in this term, or in the parentheses. Each term will get divided by negative 2. Or I don't even do the negative. I'll just do the 2 in my head first. I'll go 6x cubed, right? 6x cubed divided by 2. What does that equal? That equals 3x cubed. Okay, then I'll carry the negative later. And then again, I would do this. What is 4x cubed divided by 2? That equals 2x squared. And the thing is, both of these are negative, so that's okay that this stayed positive. Okay, a negative times a negative, or a negative divided by a negative, equals positive. Okay, and then again, you have 8 over 2. That just equals 4. Easy. And then you have negative 10. I'm going to write the negative down for this one just to show you. And then negative 2, right there, don't forget that x, equals positive. Oh, I almost wrote a negative. Ooh, me. Don't make no mistakes, okay? 5x, okay? So that's our terms here. For that bracket. There's 3 brackets here. This is a disgusting problem. Totally disgusting. I don't think there's going to be a problem like this on the test. And if there is, my gosh, Lord God help you. But okay. I am going to erase everything if this is a mess. Okay. This is a total mess. I have to do everything in sections and I have to do everything really small. Minus 1/2. Okay. And then when you minus the 1/2, okay, this is basic multiplication. So you have minus 1/2, right? I'll put that in parentheses for us just to see. And then you multiply that by 6x cubed. Do you know what to do here? What you have to do is you have to get the 6x cubed and you multiply it by here, by the 1. What is 1 times 6x cubed? Or what is 1 times anything? It's just the same number. So then you get 6x cubed over 2. Carry that negative. Okay? And then what is 6 divided by 2? It's just going to be 3. And then you carry that x, 3x squared, or cubed. And then that negative, remember that negative there. So that's how this is. This is how this looks like. Okay, I just skip a step and I just put the 6x cubed already divided by 2 equals minus 3x cubed. Okay, I just do it really fast, but that's what's happening. This right here is what's happening. Okay, that's multiplying with fractions. Another example too, just so you get the concept. Let's say you have just a whack fraction, right? I'm going to give you a whack fraction that you will not be able to divide. 3 over 5. 3 over 5 times 6x cubed, right? What we do here, we would multiply this, the top. We would get 18x cubed over 5. And there's nothing we could do there. And if they do this to you, that is diabolical. They gotta somehow give you a whole number on the test. Okay, that's it. Negative 1/2 times 6x cubed. That equals 3, negative 3x cubed. Right? Yes, it does. Okay. And then again, we do this. Negative 1/2 times minus 4x squared. That equals 2x squared. Okay. Negative 1/2 times 8. That equals negative 4. It's kind of hard to do in my head, actually, but you got to. Okay. Negative 1/2 times negative 10x. That is negative 10 over 2. Negative 10x over 2 equaling negative or positive, because it's 2 negatives, 5x. Yeah, that hurts my brain. Fractions are my weak point. Okay. And now these ones seem easier. So we have 3x squared and then minus or 3 times negative x and 3 times 2. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to write it in like a row where the terms match. So 3x squared right here, 3x squared, negative 3x, and then 3 times 2 is 6. And actually, I'm going to switch these terms around. This was 5x, and this one was negative 4. Okay, perfect. And then we do this. So let's carry this negative. Now, with this negative here, I like to write a 1. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I like to write a 1. I'm just going to put a 1 right there. Negative 1. And then we multiply. What is negative 1 times 5? Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. What is negative 1 times negative 2x cubed? That is positive 2x cubed. What is negative 1 times x? That is negative x. And what is negative 1 times negative x squared? A negative times a negative equals a positive. That is x squared. And then you have this lonely minus 4x cubed. And we're just going to put it right here, like that. And then now, we're going to combine like terms, like anything else. Minus 3x cubed, and I'm going to minus 4x cubed right here. So that equals negative 7x cubed. And then plus 2x squared, that equals negative 5x cubed. Okay, that one was easy. 2x squared plus 3x squared plus x squared. I would combine these two, that's 3x squared. And then we have plus 3x squared, that equals 6x squared. And then 5x minus 3x, what is 5x minus 3x? That is 2x. And then 2x minus x, that equals just x. Okay. What you could do here is just put the 1 right here, and then negative 1x minus 3x equals negative 4x, and then 5x minus 4x equals 1. However you want to do it. I'm just saying what's going on in my brain. And then we have a negative 4, negative 5, and I'm going to say that's negative 9. Negative 9 plus 6 equals negative 3. And that is our answer. Our answer writes negative 5x squared plus, or cubed, minus 5x cubed plus 6x squared plus x minus 3. Boom. There's your answer. That took a long time. I'm sure they won't do that to you, but they will maybe put a fraction, but they'll put a pretty one. I don't think they're going to put an ugly one. And if they put an ugly one, they are diabolical. Okay. Last question. Holy crap, I have been recording for 40 minutes. I did not think I would be recording for this long. Okay, question 6. Here we go with another fraction. And it's a pretty one. Okay, let's just go over this slowly so you get the concept. Negative 1/3. We're going to distribute this negative 1/3 to here, and so on and so forth. Okay, negative 1/3 times 9x cubed equals 9x cubed over 3, negative, okay? And then what is 9 divided by 3? That equals 3, carry that negative. And then we have 3x cubed. This x cubed just comes along for the ride. There's nothing else we could do with it, okay? Then we have minus 3x cubed. All right, so let's do the other term. Negative 1/3 times minus 6x squared. I just put it in parentheses. You don't have to. And then we have these cancel out. The negatives cancel out. Okay, so now we have 6x squared over 3. What is 6 divided by 3? Equals 2. Carry that x over, x squared, and then we have this, minus 3x cubed, and then 2x. And then again, negative 1/3 times 12. That equals, what is negative 12 divided by 3? That equals negative 4. Okay, and then moving along, we have negative 1/3, negative 1/3, holy crap, times negative 3x. And that equals, these cancel out, these negatives cancel out. So we have 3x over 3. And that equals, what is 3 divided by 3? Anything divided by itself, repeat after me, equals 1. Hooray! Okay, you're smart. 1, and then carry that x, equaling just x. All right, cool. So that whole expression, we got, I'm going to write it over here and so I could erase everything, minus 3x cubed plus 2x squared plus x minus 4. Okay, from that whole thing, we got that. We simplified that part of the expression. Now it looks like everything else is easy. So while I'm erasing, figure out that part. You done? I'm just kidding. But you should be done because you don't have that much time. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, here we go. Let's go on to the next bracket. What is 2 times 2x squared and then 2 times negative 3x and 2 times 5? That is really quick. Let's do it. 4x cubed minus 6x plus 10. Boom. We're done with that. All right. Remember with this one, a negative is here, okay? -1. That's what I like to put, okay? Just for the sake of this video. You could figure out a way to do it yourself, but I like to put a -1 there so I know that it's a negative. So -1 times 4 equals -4. Oops. I'm going to put it over here. -4, okay? -1 times negative x squared is x squared, okay? And then we have -1 times 2x is -2x. And then we have -1 times -3x cubed. That equals a positive 3x cubed, okay? Most people will forget to do this too, okay? They're going to forget to write this plus 3x squared or x cubed. So we're just going to put it, in the sake of this video, just right here, just with this part of the bracketed parentheses equation that we did. Okay? Don't forget that. Most people will do this problem and then forget that x cubed. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Perfect. We have all the terms down. Okay? It's just going to be very difficult for me because everything's scattered. But we could do it the way that I like doing it. Okay? Writing everything down again. So minus 3x cubed, right? We have another one plus 3x cubed, okay? And then we have another x cubed, right? So we can cross those out. I'll use this one. Boom, don't like you. Boom, get up my face. Boom, don't like you. All right, and what is minus 3x cubed plus 3x cubed? We could cancel those out, and then we're just left with this, x cubed, right? Equals x cubed. Boom. Okay, next we deal with the twos, the squareds. So we have 2x squared. Oh my gosh, that's so ugly. 2x squared plus 4x squared plus x squared equals, and we're just going to cross it out so we have a good visual. All right, what does that equal? 2x squared plus 4x squared, that equals 6x squared plus x squared, that is 7x squared. All right, next we have 6x, or let's just do this, x minus 6x, careful, minus 2x equals what? X minus 6x equals minus 5x, minus 5x minus 2x equals negative 7x. Okay, and hopefully I got all the x terms. And now that we're at our last term, and we have minus 4 right here from here, plus 10 minus 4. Okay, we could do this. Minus 4 is negative 8 plus 10 equals plus 2. Right? All right, cool. You don't have to write it like that. You know, that was just to exaggerate, but it's actually just 2. All right. And what I did there is minus 4 plus, or minus 4 minus 4, and that equals negative 8 plus 10, that equals 2. Okay. That's all I did there. So our final expression, I'm going to cross these out for the sake of us just visualizing that there's nothing else, right? We didn't miss anything. All these terms are accounted for. So our final answer will be x cubed plus 7x squared minus 7x plus 2. Okay, I'm not going to write it down because I don't have any room. But there you have it. There you go. We have completed the continuing education algebra and functions practice problems, questions 1 through 6. And this was about simplifying polynomial expressions, distributive property, and combining like terms. The simple stuff, okay? So make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all that, follow me, because I will be going over all the questions from this practice test, except what I will do is create new ones and solve them with you. Okay? I do have this practice test on YouTube, and I recommend that you practice it. You write everything down, screenshot everything, just screenshot this part of it, okay? You're seeing everything now because I'm not presenting, but just screenshot when I don't have the answers and then figure out the problem yourself. Or hopefully, you have your test scheduled 1 or 2 months from now, and you could follow me as I complete these problems and release several videos. So I will release these videos as I release my other video game videos because I play video games on my channel. But I'm also documenting my journey to becoming an electrician. I have interviewed for 2 locals. I have obviously passed the aptitude test. And right now I am waiting on a letter for one of my locals, and hopefully I will get that this month. Please pray for your boy that I get a favorable score. And if not, if I do not get a good score, I do have contingencies and I will be going non-union. But you know what? Everyone has a different path and we all can't be winners. So anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Markiev, baby, out. Peace and good night. Bye.